Who is Leon Kennedy married to? This is the question most people have been asking themselves since the ending of RE9. In the true ending of RE9, you see Leon and Grace talking to each other after all the events that happened, but what you also see is him put on a ring, which, shocker, is not in any other games. We have never been hinted towards him having a wife until now. Now, as you, me, and the whole community knows, there's obviously a ton of candidates because, you know, Leon, he's a flirty guy.
You know, you're kind of cute without those glasses. Give me your number when I get back.
May I remind you that you're still on duty.
But me personally, I'm thinking two big candidates. And I'm sure y'all already know, realistically, it's either Claire Redfield or Ada Wong. And for anybody who says Sherry, stop what you're doing right now. Now let's go ahead and get into the argument for either or. Now, before we analyze the relationships, we first have to acknowledge how much more interaction Ada has over Claire in this. It's a little bit of a difference. Whether it's the originals or the remakes, Leon and Ada have been considered to have one of the most confusing yet obviously compassionate connections in the entire franchise. Whether they're just tiptoeing around their real feelings or literally fighting each other, the true feelings that they want to convey are pretty apparent to the viewer in all of the games that they're together. For example, they tend to act like the average middle school talking stage. You know what I mean. They'll communicate over the phone or whatever that thing is, but avoid each other in person. Mainly Ada. Here's how it goes down.
Leon, there's only time to say this once, so listen.
How about we continue this discussion another time?
That was just a couple of the many examples of this. Another thing to take into consideration when thinking about the relationship is the jobs that they live and the lives that they have separately led. See what I did there? But in all seriousness, their jobs and lifestyles are about the same, but just different enough to make them clash heads. While Leon started off as a noble cop with the main goal to simply help people out when he first met Ada in Resident Evil 2,
Helping people like them? That's why I joined the force.
she started off as a corporate spy and mercenary who was faking as a FBI agent.
FBI.
You can already tell the moral difference between the two here. However, don't give up on Ada just yet. Everybody got a chance for some character development. To show off some character development, when she first sees Leon again in RE4 for the first time in
6 years.
the first thing that she does when getting the chance is ring the bell that helps him out. I would say it saved his life, but we all know the type of stuff Leon does. We're biking up a whole building right now. Oh yeah, this is game of the year, y'all. But this isn't the first time this has happened. Before RE4, she still showed some good in her through saving Leon in the basement of RPD and thinking about him when she was hurt and in desperate danger.
Where's Leon when I need him?
When it's in a video game, you don't really think about it that much, but what would you be doing in that situation? What would you be thinking about? Most people would not think about others in that situation, I promise you. So now that we have a good idea of the relationship we're working with, let's go ahead and talk about why it could work and also why it couldn't. First things first, I like to start things off on a very positive note. So let's go ahead and start off with all the good things and why I think it could happen. One reason that I believe it could work is because throughout the games and over multiple decades, they've built up a trauma bond. And they also work sort of similar jobs as I mentioned earlier, which led to these trauma bonds. The definition of a trauma bond is a powerful psychological attachment that develops between a person and someone who is abusive, manipulative, or harmful to them. But in this video, we're gonna go ahead and use the more loose term, shared trauma, that people use, which is just simply when people go through something together and, you know, they just bond over it. We all know that Leon didn't abuse Ada. I mean, if it was any abuse going on, we all know it was the mind games Ada was playing with Leon, let's be honest. Now, I'm not saying that trauma bonding is the best way to get a relationship to work, but even people in the game see what's going on. I mean, just look at this clip from RE6.
Wish I could stay longer, but I've got to run. I've left you a little parting gift on the roof. See you down the road, Leon.
Ada!
What are you waiting for?
Go after her.
There's no telling whether Helena is a relationship expert or not, but personally, I think this is a testament to how obvious the connection between the two of them is. I mean, I don't know what else to say. The characters from the verse are recognizing it. To show more of this connection built up throughout the games, when looking at one of the reports Ada wrote in the RE4 Separate Ways DLC, she literally says that she cannot let Leon die because it would give her bad dreams. Now, she says it's not because she has a soft spot for him, but we all know how she really feels, bro. Another reason why I believe it could work is because they simply just have the basic chemistry that's needed. You see Ada and Leon flirt with each other multiple times, even after that awkward fall in RE2. And as a person who's spoken to quite a few people in my time, I can confidently say coming back from a very awkward situation / big falling out, not the easiest thing in the world. To improve the situation even, after everything they went through, I believe that Ada realized what he meant to her. In RE4, near the very end of the game, she offers him a ride before throwing him the key and is visually upset when he turns down her offer.
Ride's here. You coming?
think we both know this is where we go our separate ways.
This feeling of genuine care and compassion is proof enough that they have chemistry because she was willing to change for him, even if it's only bit by bit. Not to mention the fact that Capcom went ahead and dropped us a little hint at the key that Ada gave us at the end of RE4.
Cute.
This can be found in the RPD parking garage area in RE9. But why would Capcom just casually drop hints at Ada specifically? I understand that you could say it's just simply because that's where they met for the first time, but you gotta think about it like this. That key was from a different game. Enough said, bro. Leon and Ada for the win. Nah, but for real, the series does build up quite a strong argument for why they would work, but there's also problems. So let's go ahead and dissect these in depth. While it looks good on paper and people can change, we haven't been given a surefire way of knowing that Ada has changed enough for Leon to accept what she's done. And like I mentioned earlier, when they first met, there was a very wide moral gap, and though that gap is closed a bit, there's no guarantee that it's closed enough. Let's just say that, you know, a closed door can have some cracks. Oh, that wasn't good. All right, bet let's get back to it. Leon and Ada exist on opposite sides of a legal and ethical divide that has never truly been bridged. While Leon is a dedicated legal/government agent, formerly RPD, then DSO, his life is defined by a sense of duty, justice, and the protection of civilians. In contrast, Ada is a mercenary and industrial spy who consistently works for shadowy organizations. One example of this being her working for Neo Umbrella in RE6. This means that unless Leon has seen a different side of Ada over the years, he would essentially have to compromise his entire moral identity or change who he is for this marriage and relationship to properly work. The standoff between Chris and Leon in RE6 shows the inner conflict that Leon was having about as good as it can be encapsulated.
Chris? Leon? What are you doing here?
Put your gun down, Chris. She's a key witness. We need her.
A witness? She's the one who did all this!
No, it wasn't her. It was Simmons.
She's working for Neo Umbrella. You know what that means?
Yeah. I do.
And you're still going to protect this woman?
I am.
As you saw in the clip, Leon was ready to die about her. In a literal sense, though, he did see her as more important in the moment than his morals, before snapping back to reality. Though let's not lose hope just yet, because there is one small piece of canon evidence that he may have seen a good side of her. But I had to go digging very deep for this. In the CGI film Resident Evil Damnation. The clip essentially shows Ada ask him when he wants to hang out, but I'm not going to spoil too much.
It's been a long time, Leon.
What are you doing here?
I was about to ask you the same thing. By the way, when are we going to, carry on from where we left off that night?
Anytime but now.
This kind of goes against the point I was trying to make earlier of why it might not work. But then again, it's also not a clip from a direct mainline game, so take it with a grain of salt. Another reason it may not work is because of Ada's need for autonomy. Ada Wong's greatest asset is her ability to disappear. She's basically a phantom in the corporate espionage world, and her survival depends on having no permanent ties, no fixed address, and no paper trails. Being Miss Kennedy would kind of make her a massive target for Leon's enemies, and also make Leon a target for her employers. This would obviously create a big problem in how the relationship would be able to go on forward, and it's a great example of the classic tragic romance trope. This trope is also backed up by game files released by Capcom themselves around the time that RE6 was released. The file basically summarizes their relationship as complicated and circumstantial. Yikes, we all know those aren't good descriptive words for relationship. Damn! The same way that Ada and Leon's relationship had things to consider, so does the relationship between Claire and Leon. Let's go ahead and talk about this one first. The first thing we should consider is the possible ethical divide between the two. I've noticed that they are very close in terms of moral identities, but they differ in a way that just cannot be ignored. Let's say for a small analogy that Leon and Claire were both instruments of war. Now this may sound a little odd because, you know, what am I talking about, right? But listen.
Let me break it down for you, Mark.
Essentially what this analogy means is that Leon is more of a morally gray type of guy who makes sure things stay under control, while Claire is more of a the truth must get out no matter what type of person. To highlight this, Leon becomes a highly classified government agent who works within the system, often carrying out morally gray orders and keeping massive world-altering secrets to maintain global stability, while Claire joins TerraSave, a human rights and search and rescue organization. She works on the ground with victims and actively fights to expose government corruption and bioweapon cover-ups. This shows at least a slight clash between morals, which is shown very well in this clip from the CGI series Resident Evil Infinite Darkness.
I can't.
What? So that's how it's gonna be? You do things your way and I do things mine? Okay.
As you can see in the clip, Claire wants to release the information to the public while Leon wants to protect the status quo of President Graham's administration. Now, I gotta admit, I don't agree with Leon on this one, but he does believe that revealing such a massive conspiracy would cause global panic and political instability that could lead to even more chaos, which could be true, but I'm still kind of siding with Claire here. But that's not what matters. What matters is that this scene shows that Claire is deeply disillusioned by Leon's decision because as a Raccoon City survivor just like Leon, she believes that if everyone knew what was going on, then it would be easier to take down these corporations. But even though this may make it seem like they're incompatible, we have to remember that this is still work and sometimes opposites attract. So with that being said, let's talk about why they could work and also why they couldn't. Once again, we're gonna go ahead and start off with the positives and the reasons that they could work as partners. And I think the first and most compelling reason why they could work is both of their origin stories. Unlike Leon's relationship with Ada, which is built on secrets and manipulation, his bond with Claire is built on more of a trial by fire, where they had to rely on 100% honesty to survive. Despite being separated for most of the game, their reunion at the train is marked by an immediate, instinctive trust. Leon's first priority is ensuring Claire and Sherry are safe, and Claire's first instinct is to wait for him.
Claire!
Leon! It's so good to see you.
I told you we'd make it, didn't I?
You did.
Who's this?
This is Sherry.
Okay.
This feels like a lot more of a warm and natural love than what Leon and Ada have, and it's most likely a refresher for Leon after what literally just happened with Ada right before. Another reason why I think they could work is because they aren't just survivors. They're the surrogate parents of Sherry Birkin. Kind of. In the epilogue of RE2, as they walk into the sunset with Sherry, she mentions them being kind of like her parents from now on, and this shared responsibility for a child's life is a level of intimacy Leon doesn't share with anybody else, including Ada Wong. But even though this all seems nice, just like with Ada, they also have some problems that could make them not be compatible. So let's go ahead and talk about those as well. Now, when I first decided to make this video, I wanted to make sure not to mention the other candidates during the arguments of the others, but it's pretty obvious and it's just something that you can't ignore. What I'm talking about is how Leon feels about Ada. For better or for worse, Leon S. Kennedy is characterized by his tragic, obsessive attachment to Ada Wong. And throughout almost every game he appears in, Leon is distracted by Ada, he lets her escape and then helps her finish mission, and is clearly emotionally compromised by her. This creates a three's a crowd dynamic, which just doesn't seem to side with the Cleon ship. But like I said, we do need to focus on these two solely as well, so another reason why I believe it couldn't go so well between them is because their shared history is a bond, but it is also a permanent reminder of the worst night of their lives. Now, I know you may be saying it's the same with Ada, but it's a little different because Ada was already seen as negative and he saw her a lot more after, so it's a lot more experience between them after this. But let's get back to talking about Claire and Leon. Let me not get ahead of myself. In almost every interaction they have post 1998, their conversations inevitably circle back to outbreaks, bioweapons, and the people they lost. While this creates a deep understanding, it also means they can never provide each other with a fresh start. And I don't know about y'all, but personally, if every time I talk to somebody they just brought up the worst, I don't know how that would go. So with everything considered between both candidates, I have to make the big hard decision of who I think it actually is. Keep in mind I have no personal bias towards either side, and my pick is based solely on evidence and encounters between the two characters. So without further ado, I'm gonna have to give the win to Ada Wong. Now don't be rash. I do understand why you may think Claire, if you do, because they put up a good argument for both candidates. But personally, I just believe there's so much extra interaction between Ada. So many times that, like, the devs of the game have mentioned her in separate games, put her in more games, series, and stuff. So I just think, like, they have to be hinting towards something. Mainly, that is the reason towards my verdict, but I also do think that they would work together a little bit better because, you know, it's just I don't know how to say it. It sounds very, like, simple, but literally if you play the games you understand what I mean. They just seem like it's, you could tell that's the one that the devs are going for. But with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed. This one took a lot of time and effort, so let me know what the next topic y'all want to see is down below in the comments, because these do take a lot of time. And I love y'all. See you on the next one. Peace.